Hello and welcome to the June edition of Cardano360, your monthly catch-up with the people and projects building out this incredible Cardano ecosystem. Coming up in today's show, we'll take a look back at Consensus, where the Cardano community came together in Austin, Texas, to show the wider blockchain industry just where we're at and where we're going. We'll share some highlights and best moments, featuring IOG's new Web3 lightwallet platform Lace, and give you the download on the EVM sidechain initiative. And we'll get to hear from just some of the Cardano community projects who were there in force to make Consensus 2022 such a special event. Plus the latest on the Vasil upgrade with some of the folks making it happen. But before we dive in, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell for all the latest Cardano content from the team here at IOG. Just a few weeks ago, IOG, the CF, and Emergo wrapped in Austin, Texas, where we welcome community members and some of our key collaborators building out the Cardano ecosystem. On a packed booth over 2 days, we welcomed over 24 projects building on Cardano and thousands of community members and the Cardano curious. We had our filmmaker Dom and his crew with us all week, so let's just get a flavour of that now. So we've come here to Consensus to showcase the strength and the power and the growth of the Cardano ecosystem to the wider blockchain world. And while we've been here, we've had a fantastic opportunity to meet many of those projects building on Cardano. So we sat down with a number of them to find out exactly why they were here and why they were building on Cardano.
The one thing about Cardano is that it's all about community, and since COVID, 2009, about the end of 2019, everyone's basically working from their computers. We're all finally coming together and meeting each other in person. It's amazing.
The interest we've seen in regards to Cardano have been beyond anything that we thought that we were going to see here. We're talking to people from Ethereum and other blockchains, and they see that this is kind of coming up. They see that Cardano is starting to mature and that there are some really, really interesting possibilities that can be done on Cardano.
It's amazing to be with everybody. It's amazing to see what an effort that everybody's put on, and there's that huge family feeling as well. But there's an excitement as well. It seems like non-dependent on the market, people are starting to see exactly where Cardano can go, where IO can go, and of course, our partnership with IO and World Mobile is really important here.
Me personally, I'm active in Cardano for close to 2 years now, and I know a lot of these people, you know, from YouTube or from sessions that we had, from Zoom calls, and now finally we can, you know, shake hands and have a drink and just enjoy the community. And in the Cardano booth, everybody's kind of cheering for each other, and we are there together, and everybody's just hanging out, and it feels good to be a part of that.
Cardano booth has been probably the biggest and most hype booth here in Consensus. People appreciate the engagement that comes from meeting people face to face, shaking hands. But when everybody is around, you kind of feel the sense of a community.
First of all, I love the green approach to the booth. It's really fitting for Cardano. And I've been enjoying a lot the networking with the community because everybody's very welcoming. Everybody's very excited to see people building on Cardano. And that's been the highlight. Everybody's asking, how do you do this? How do you do that? Me being the technical guy, they're always trying to get the details, and it's really funny to interact with them.
Joining us to discuss, Charles Hoskinson and Kevin Reynolds.
The roadmap is a collaborative effort. We're just one company. We're very focused on deploying solutions into Africa because we'd like to bank the unbanked. So you go to Kenya and Ghana and Zanzibar and other places, but you never lose sight of the fact that you're not there to work with governments. You're there to work with people at the end of the day. That's the key. And so every time you give someone a cryptocurrency wallet, you give someone a self-sovereign identity, you teach them the principles of this ecosystem. It's like Plato leading somebody out of the cave. They no longer see shadows, they see forms for the first time. They can't go back into the cave. They're out, you know, and that's what we're doing. We're teaching the next generation that there's a different way to think about inclusive accountability, credentials, these types of things. And if that lesson sticks, it will be transformative in all aspects of life.
The key takeaway is to showcase the quality of the ecosystem. I think the fact that we've gone slow to go fast is incredible, and that's what a lot of people come to Cardano for. So the academic research, the quality of the technology, and then lastly, the community of people that are supporting each other.
We're just seeing a community that's really finding its feet. We're seeing an ecosystem that is truly flourishing. We've got over 1,000 projects now building on Cardano, and that's just the ones we've tracked. We really think that's probably just scratching the surface. And we've had many of them here. We've had about 25 of those projects here on the booth with us, sharing their stories about building on Cardano. We've had the team from Project Catalyst, which of course is a feeder to many of those projects. We've had the team from Itala Prism. We announced our new Lace wallet, which is our new Web3 portal. We're determined that as the ecosystem grows, the network will scale. Capability on the blockchain will increase and improve over time. I think testament to that is the strength of community spirit here at Consensus. So as part of Consensus, IOG shared some news of its own. Cardano is all about interoperability, and as part of that approach, we introduced our EVM sidechain initiative. Product marketing lead Kathryn Stacy was on the booth to tell everybody about it, and we asked her to recap that for us here on 360.
Hi everyone, my name is Kathryn, and I am the product marketer for sidechains at IOG. Back in September 2021, IOG talked about how Cardano is entering a new phase of development, where we will really begin to see the benefits of Basho begin to take form. IOG is a company that not only focuses on the needs of today's users, but also likes to think deeply and ask big questions about what type of world we want to live in 5, 10, or even 50 years from now. IOG has thought very carefully about what it'll take to build a more open, connected, and scalable platform. And today, I'm going to give you a glimpse into how sidechains will help us achieve this goal. Sidechains arm users with the ability to build a network by the community for the community. With the addition of sidechains, we can add new features to the network, and we can scale the network to millions and perhaps even billions of users. If you want to build a network that is meant to completely redesign the systems that run our world, you must first start with a secure ledger that can be trusted by both governments and institutions alike. From there, you must be able to give developers the tools needed to build high assurance and high performant applications. And that is just what IOG did when designing the core capabilities of the Cardano network. The core network was built in Haskell, a language that was chosen because of its unparalleled correctness and security. Because of the performant nature of this programming language, IOG was able to create an innovative eUTXO model, native assets, and the Plutus smart contract programming language. And with just those tools at hand, the Cardano community has been able to create one of the most fast-paced, thriving DApp ecosystems in less than a year. If you want to build a smart contract platform of the future, you must be able to transcend the capabilities of a single programming language. Projects like Marlowe are a fantastic way for anyone to come online and build smart contracts that will help bring their ideas to life. We also need to be able to offer support for other developers that are looking to build on the Cardano platform. And thanks to projects like the Milkomeda C1 sidechain and the EVM sidechain that is being developed by IOG in-house, the Cardano network now offers support for the Solidity programming language. IOG's vision for building the most inclusive platform doesn't stop there. We must also make it easy for Java, C++, Rust, Scala, you name it, any kind of developers to join our network and build applications. Making it easy for traditional developers to join the blockchain revolution has the capability to bring best practices and novel ideas to the entire blockchain industry. Now that we have this secure ledger, and developers have more choice over what type of tools they would like to use. Where do we go next on our journey to build a third-generation smart contract platform? The next phase of our journey is all about how we enable even more connectivity between Cardano and other blockchain networks. And this is when we begin to talk about bridges. The Cardano network will have secure permissionless bridges. Permissionless meaning that validators don't need permission from a centralized authority in order to secure the bridge. So essentially it will become more and more decentralized over time. So Cardano will have secure permissionless bridges that will connect the Cardano mainnet to its sidechains so that anyone can send assets securely between the two. There's also a number of ecosystem contributors that are building bridges to connect Cardano to other networks, such as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Algorand, and so on. However, connection extends beyond merely the technological aspects of a network. We must also cultivate an ecosystem where it is rewarding and welcoming for all of the new users who will be joining the network over the coming years. Projects like Catalyst will play a very important role during this period. Catalyst will become a pivotal touch point for all of these new users to come online, build powerful connections, express their voice, and contribute to the evolution of the Cardano ecosystem. Phase 3 of our journey is how IOG plans to enable even more programmability on Cardano. It's not enough that developers have the ability to build on top of the network. We must also make it easy for anyone to contribute to designing the core capabilities of the Cardano network itself. That is why IOG has decided to open up access to the EVM source code so that individuals, teams, and companies can use this source code as a framework to create their own Cardano EVM sidechains. No single blockchain can succeed in isolation. No single blockchain will completely transform our entire digital infrastructure. No single blockchain is going to revolutionize the way that we share data, the ways that we transact with each other, and the ways that we engage with each other virtually. Over time, we will begin to see specialized sidechains emerge that are good at handling specific use cases. And that could be decentralized AI, identity, governance, and perhaps even a metaverse chain. Over the coming years, we will begin to see applications that are already existing on other networks join the Cardano network by bringing their applications to the EVM sidechain. We will begin to see new faces in Catalyst expressing novel ideas, and we will begin to see more people using the sidechain framework to create their own specialized sidechains as we work together to build out an ecosystem of ecosystems on Cardano. I, for one, cannot wait to see the future that we build together. I am also very excited to announce IOG is now providing access to selected projects who wish to try out the EVM sidechain alpha release. If you would like to get access to this testnet, please scan the QR code on the screen to fill out the form, and we will review your submission. Once you've been granted access, you will receive a welcome email.
So thank you, Kathryn, for that. And if you want to check out a full demo of the EVM sidechain in action, developer relations specialist Stefan Lohr has created one, and we've put the link below. The Cardano ecosystem is blessed with over a dozen options when it comes to wallets, from Nami to Giro, Eternal to Yoroi, Typhon, Flint, Adalite, and Atomic, to name just a few. At Consensus, IOG launched its own new Web3 light wallet platform, Lace. Stella is the product marketing manager. She was there, and she joins us now. Stella, welcome to Cardano360. Let's start with a quick introduction.
Thanks, Tim. Hi, everyone. I'm Stella. I'm the product marketing lead for IOG Wallets and Services, and I'm thrilled to be here with you. And also, I'm so happy by the amazing reaction we got when announcing Lace during the Consensus event. We first mentioned that we are building a light wallet way back during the Cardano Summit last year. And now we are so happy to announce that this light wallet actually has a name and it is about to come out. It is called Lace, and it is not only a light wallet, but it is a platform because it ties together various elements of the Web3 world.
So Stella, how is Lace different from other wallets?
We designed Lace to be more than a wallet. It is a platform because it brings together all of the amazing features and benefits that the Cardano ecosystem has to offer all in one place. It was designed to have a very easy integration with features like sidechains, with features like governance, simply because we want to make it as easy as possible for everyone to enjoy all the benefits that our ecosystem has to offer. It is a place where not only experienced builders, but also newcomers can find a place and enjoy everything that we have. This is your friendly home for digital assets, dApps, NFTs, and DeFis.
Thanks, Stella. We'll come back to you in a moment. But first, let's show a clip from when we introduced Lace on the booth at Consensus. Over to Charles.
Hi, everybody. First, I want to thank the Lace team. These guys, they worked so hard. How many months we've been working on this now?
6 or 7 months.
Yeah, and it hasn't been easy. It's been overtime work, a lot of really tough details. You see, the magic of what's here is that it's web first, it's light first, it's written in TypeScript, there's a lot of amazing code, but it's agile. So what's so beautiful is we've been able to marry the formal methods and the really rigorous stuff that's been done by the Cardano infrastructure engineers with a web approach where we can get features out every 6 to 9 weeks. The voting center is going to bring it to the next level. Because right now, less than 10% of the people who either participate on a regular basis in governance. When we have a beautiful, seamless voting experience, that'll be just like staking. We're over 72% stake. So can you imagine how powerful, big, resilient, robust of an ecosystem we will be together when we have 7 times as many people participating in the democratic process, submitting ballots? How many projects are going to come from? How big the crowds are going to be? What's going to come from that? And the cool part is because this is being built in collaboration with you, can you imagine how fast this product is going to develop? It's open source. Can you imagine all the standards the community is going to come? This is why this is one of the most exciting products. The future we're moving towards with Lace is if you want to create a Coinbase account, you just click one button if you have a DID, and it's pre-created and you're already gone through compliance. No friction in commerce as you move between one experience to another experience to another experience. Multiple DIDs for multiple things. Your alias for gaming, nobody knows who you are. The thing you use for regulated activities, the thing you use with your doctor, the thing you use with your family, different personas, different profiles. That's the other cool part about marrying these two things together, is that once they fit together, it's like peanut butter and jelly. You never go back. That's identity. And that's coming here. But do we just get to use it with Lace? No! The DApp developers, the NFT makers, all of these other people, they get to use it too. Because every Lace customer, every person using this framework is going to expose and provide that to the dApps that they choose to interact with. That's why we built Lace. It's a platform to bring people together, their identity together, their information together, their value together, and put you in the driver's seat about this new economy, this Web3 economy. Put you in control of that and decide how you want to navigate it. Our expertise is in infrastructure and cryptography, so over time we can add more crypto. That translates to more security, more options, more capabilities.
So Stella, what's next for Lace?
Actually, lots of amazing things. The first one being the fact that Lace was started on Cardano, but we designed it to be built for the world because we want to let everyone in the world enjoy the benefits of the Cardano ecosystem. We're planning a lot of cool releases like dark mode, mobile, desktop apps, identity, and integrations with DEX, just to name a few.
How can folks get involved?
That's a very easy question to answer. Just go to lace.io and sign up to receive news about all the latest developments there is around Lace and to be among the first one to actually try the product once it is out this summer. In the meantime, I would go and follow us all across social media like Twitter and YouTube. Check out all the videos that we have posted so you can get a glimpse as to what is inside Lace and how it is going to be looking. We can't wait to share it with you.
Stella, thanks very much for joining us on Cardano 360.
Thank you.
So that's it from Consensus for now, but there'll be more to come. We captured a heap of footage at the event, so expect to see more soon right here on YouTube, including some highlights from the Plutus and Marlow hackathon we held at the end of Consensus Week. In fact, that's not the only developer event we've hosted recently. At the end of May, we met in Barcelona with members of the developer community to discuss the importance of audit and certification for the evolution of Cardano and the industry as a whole. Let's hear more on that now, starting with Simon Thompson, who's driving this initiative, and then we'll hear from some of the projects building on Cardano.
Hi everyone, welcome to Barcelona. It's a great pleasure to be here. And we've had a fantastic meeting talking about audit and certification. Had a number of people from IOG here, but more importantly, we've had people from the audit community, plus a number of DApp developers. And getting those three groups together has given us a chance to raise the profile of audit and certification, get feedback from the Cardano community, and exchange ideas and meet each other face to face. We want to encourage people to have their dApps audited because nobody is perfect. Nobody writes code without bugs. And having another pair of eyes on your code can make a huge difference. Aiming for audit, aiming for automated testing or verification means we can try and reduce the probability that things will go wrong.
SundaySwap is a DEX that launched on Cardano in January, and a key part of our strategy to getting to market was an audit. And so for those who don't know, that entails asking kind of a third party to come in and review your code and your design. And that's super important for building that confidence for yourself and for your users in the security and the safety of any funds that are going to be interacting with that DApp.
So FIO has three central pillars, which is secure code audits, threat monitoring and intelligence, and decentralized identity management, which we call FIO Identity, which we're making free for every user out there.
I always felt the need to be a software engineer as trustable as an architect that builds a bridge. I think Cardano is taking the approach that it's the correct approach to build this system that will allow people to transact with their value.
We've built with the audit community a set of best practice guidelines for what audit consists of. This is to help auditors understand what's required of them, but also developers to understand how to prepare for audit, what they should expect, and so on. The other thing we're doing is looking at level 1, automated testing, at building services so that we can automatically test dApps that are submitted to the DApp store that IOG is building, so that we can put information in the DApp store about the level of assurance that somebody can promise about their DApp.
Why do you think it's important for dApps to be audited?
From a developer's perspective, they want us to find the vulnerabilities before the real hackers can do. I think it's very necessary for the companies, from a user's perspective, to have the smart contracts or the dApps they are using being audited so that we can build trust between the user and the dApps company.
Security is really the central issue facing the success of Web3. Not just making sure that the platforms that people are interacting with are secure, but that they're also safe to use.
You should never trust your code. You should always let other people see it and try to break it. Try to use some tools you might have not known about or not be comfortable using, so that you can always be sure that your smart contracts are safe.
One of the most interesting kind of distinctions that I think can be made is the difference between an audit and the certification. The audit is the actual process of checking and ensuring high quality of the code and the protocol. And then the certification is how do you let users know about that? How do you attest to that on chain? And how do you surface that in different user experiences like wallets and things like that?
In order to get close to the, let's say, regular people, and it's not involved in blockchain, we need those certifications so they can really trust.
My biggest takeaway is that everybody here is making sure that security is priority number one. The Cardano the Foundation and everybody interacting on it is working together to make a safer space. It's been a great group of people here, and having such an intimate setting to really discuss the key issues and key problems facing us progressing forward in such an intimate fashion with just a really overall nice group of people has really been a pleasure, and we're happy to be part of it.
So if you want to watch that video from Barcelona in full and hear a few more of the developers that joined us, check out the link below. Now, let's talk about Vasil. But before we begin, let's remind ourselves why our major upgrade was given this name. I recorded this short tribute and we shared it recently to explain. Now, a few of you may be wondering why we named this upcoming release Vasil. Well, we named it in honor of Vasil Stoyanov-Dabov, a long-time member of our community who sadly passed away last year. Vasil was an artist, an entrepreneur, a haskellr, and a passionate ginkgologist who planted more than 10,000 ginkgo biloba and metasequoia trees in his lifetime, and that's only before he stopped counting. As Vasil put it, after I planted a few thousand trees, I realized that instead of spending time counting how many trees I planted, I could use the same time to plant more trees. Vasil helped organize Cardano's second anniversary celebrations in his home city of Plovdiv, Bulgaria, and a number of us, including myself, had the privilege of meeting him and planting some trees at the university. Now, ginkgos, in case you didn't know, are among the most ancient of trees, with some living examples believed to be over 1,500 years old. So this gesture was very much in line with Vasil's personal philosophy. Vasil called himself an urban shaman who practiced a life of dedication to presence, knowledge, and connection to the natural world. He was an adherent of Holonist philosophy, holon being described by writer Arthur Koestler in The Ghost in the Machine as something that has integrity and identity, while simultaneously being part of a larger system. So all in all, we think it's a rather fitting tribute. To learn more about Vasil, you can watch Charles's tribute in the links below. Our very best wishes go out to Vasil's family. So on Tuesday, we announced that we'd be hard forking the Cardano testnet at the weekend. Really, this is the countdown to releasing the Vasil upgrade on the mainnet. I'm now joined by Nigel for a little bit of an update. So Nigel, it's been a long road to here.
Hi Tim, it sure has, and everyone's worked incredibly hard to get to this place. We've been very careful. We've made sure that we've covered all the testing that we want to do across every category, dApps, integrations, downstream products, you name it. And we all decided as a team that we've got to the right quality. And at this point, we were ready to hard fork the testnet. So that goes ahead, and it will hard fork on Sunday, the 3rd of July. And at this point, we're then looking at a period of 4 weeks where we'll be asking the community, SBOs, dApps to do their part of the testing, as well as exchanges, and make sure that they're ready for our mainnet hard fork.
So just a little bit further to go, and of course there have been an awful lot of people working very hard. I caught up with a number of them a little bit earlier this week to hear what they've been up to. So as we head ever closer to deploying the Vasil upgrade on mainnet, we wanted to introduce you to just a few of the team making it possible. From the core architecture of diffusion pipelining, bringing greater throughput, to some of the devs busy checking backward compatibility and building using the new Plutus CIPs, plus the critical test engineering process that ensures the code is safe, reliable, and fit for purpose. So let's meet some of those folks working behind the scenes to deliver and to reap the benefits from the most complex Cardano upgrade yet. Duncan Coutts is one of the key architects behind diffusion pipelining, an important and exciting part of the Vasil upgrade. He's now back from paternity leave, so I asked him to explain how pipelining would enable greater speed and throughput for Cardano.
So diffusion pipelining allows us to start to increase the amount of time we spend on processing blocks, in particular processing scripts. So initially, without changing any parameters, when we first enable the feature, it's not going to make a whole lot of difference, because right now we're not spending a lot of time in each block in processing scripts. The key idea with diffusion pipelining is that we are overlapping the processing of a block with sending it out. So that allows us to increase the amount of time we spend processing. And if we're not spending a lot of time processing initially, it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. Most of the time is the propagation. So it's an enabler that will let us start to change the parameters for how many script execution units are we allowed per block, and that will let us start to push up the block sizes, the number of scripts, how long scripts are allowed to run, without blowing out our diffusion budget. That's the key idea.
So Duncan, tell us more about that budget. This is the safe limit, as it were, for block propagation, right?
The Ouroboros diffusion budget is a key parameter of the system. It's key to Ouroboros' security. Ouroboros is a hard real-time system, and one of the constraints we have is that blocks must get across the network within the so-called delta parameter, which in practice is 5 seconds. And that's a hard limit, and we don't want to get near to that hard limit. At the moment, we're getting blocks across the network in somewhere between 1 to 2 seconds. And so our diffusion budget is saying, well, what if we went up to 3, 4 seconds? That means we can be using bigger blocks, longer running scripts, etc. So that's what the diffusion budget is. It's the amount of time we have to spend in getting blocks across the network, but keeping within that hard limit that Ouroboros requires.
So Duncan, I guess we'll see a similar process of optimization, a little like what we've been seeing on the network over the past 6 months. It won't kick in all at once.
So after the Vasil upgrade, we then have the opportunity to tweak the parameters and to start to use more of our diffusion budget. As I said a moment ago, currently we're only using about 1 to 2 seconds of our block diffusion budget, and we can push that up. And particularly, with diffusion pipelining, we're able to use that budget more efficiently. So yes, there will be a process after the hard fork of starting to increase some of the parameters bit by bit. We've done lots of simulations during the development, and we have test nets, but there's nothing that substitute for the real thing. And so we want to take a careful, bit by bit approach to increasing the amount of the diffusion budget that we use.
So Duncan, you've been away for much of this year, and congratulations, by the way. With diffusion pipelining now being delivered, what's your next focus?
So one of the really interesting things that I'm working on, which is very much a forward-looking project, is what we call Ouroboros Leos, or Ouroboros with input endorsers, which is a very exciting idea for how to make a very high performance, high throughput version of Ouroboros. And so there's lots of really interesting technical problems in there, and we're working on some of the prototyping and simulation at the moment to help the researchers, give them feedback on the design and help us achieve a design that will indeed have the performance that we hope it will do. So there's really interesting stuff in there.
So thank you very much, Duncan. And of course, if you want to learn more about input endorsers and Ouroboros Leos, make sure you take a look at the recent video from IOG Chief Scientist, Professor Agalos Kias. The link's below. Now, we've had about 30 developers working with us through the Vasil DevNet stage, testing their dApps for backward compatibility, as well as trying some of the new Plutus features. D-Quadrant, the team behind Artano, is one of them. So, Ronald, the IOG and D-Quadrant Artano teams have been collaborating very closely these past few months. Maybe let's start with a brief intro.
My name is Ronald Span. I'm the CEO of D-Quadrant, and we have created the DApp for NFTs. It's called Artano. Basically, we're testing this DApp on the dev testnet to make sure that it's still running the same way as it did on mainnet. We did apply the new functionality that is brought with Vasil hard fork, reporting our results on that on basis of functional testing, on basis of stress testing, and these kind of things. We ran a full suite of tests to get the confirmation basically that the existing Plutus code is still working on the new version 2 dev testnet.
Now, this is basically regression testing, right? Ensuring that your original DApp built in Plutus version 1 runs successfully on Plutus version 2. But more than that, you saw some exciting performance improvements too.
I can confirm that basically our DApp, as it was running on mainnet, by moving it to testnet, we encountered a performance increasement of 10 times. Let's say on the previous mainnet, we did simultaneous request on our DApp. We did the same simultaneous request on the dev testnet and could load 10 times more on request to be served by the node. If we did that test on the previous mainnet, basically the node was blocking. Yeah, it was not processing those requests. There was, let's say, a certain limit it could handle. And now we can confirm basically that that limit is much higher. And this is specific for our NFT DApp. We don't know how this would be performing on other dApps, but we expect they will see the same performance increasement.
So you've been looking at the new Plutus enhancements, and that's the inline datum, reference inputs, reference scripts. Perhaps you can help us understand how you've re-architected the transaction structure in your DApp to take advantage.
I think that's related to the transaction out and to the body content. What we tested basically inline datums, reference scripts and inputs, and they worked all for us. The reference scripts basically are giving us some more flexibility because you're referencing something that can be stored somewhere else and you don't have to reload all the time. So if you have within your NFT DApp, you are constructing several transactions, you can reuse those reference scripts without reloading them every time. Next to that, the reference variables, basically the inputs, gives us the possibility to load, let's say, for example, certain fees which are related to our NFT DApp upfront. And we can make a distinguish between several fees. And this gives us more flexibility in the variable fee per sale, for example, for a direct sale and for an auction. So that are part of the benefits we get out of these reference scripts, which we have tested. Obviously, we also had to make some changes to the smart contract code and review a lot of Cardano API changes. And this is something every DApp developer who wants to move his DApp from this version 1 to version 2 of Plutus, of course, also has to do. And this is taking quite some effort, but that's quite normal, let's say, with this kind of changes being applied for the benefit, basically, of performance, transactions, fees, etc. Our experience is basically that we are very happy to work together because it's speeding up the process for us as well to move forward with our DApp. And we're getting the benefits from the fact that we can give certain input, which is helping basically in fixing some issues very quickly. We are trying to look into the situation, how could it benefit everyone, instead of just how could it benefit us. So it's basically important that we deliver something that for everyone is good. So overall, we are very happy with the results and also with the cooperation basically with IOHK on this part.
So Ronald, IOG has had a close collaboration with you now for quite some time. And the work you've done, of course, has been immensely helpful to us and also to the wider community across multiple areas, from code to documentation. So thank you. Indigo Labs is one of the most anticipated projects yet to launch on Cardano, and one of the many looking to take advantage of the new Plutus enhancements. The team's been especially busy on the Vasil DevNet these past few weeks. So, Eric, maybe give us a quick intro and tell us what you've been up to.
Okay, yeah, thanks for having me today. I am Eric Coley, the founder of Indigo Labs. We're building Indigo Protocol. We are the synthetic asset protocol building on Cardano within the DeFi ecosystem. Our team has really been preparing all of our smart contracts for the Vasil hard fork and integrating with SIPs 31 through 33. The DevNet experience for us has been especially helpful, testing the new features and functionality that are unlocking with Vasil.
And Eric, what improvements have you identified so far? What's going to be the most useful?
I think we've seen the greatest positive impact on our CDP contracts. In particular, I think we're anticipating SIP 31, the reference inputs. This will allow our contracts to read Oracle price data for our assets without having to actually consume a UTXO. The benefit there is that the contracts will fit within the on-chain constraints and alleviate any contention issue on the Oracle UTXO. We're also looking forward to SIP 33, the reference scripts. This helps reduce transaction fees for our users, which is obviously a great thing for savings. But that's done in that the contracts will not have to be placed on chain in many cases. So there's a great benefit there as well. Across the board, I feel the DApp community and the DeFi community will realize that SIP 31 has the greatest impact in reducing overhead of reading data from the UTXOs for computation within the smart contracts. Yeah, so a specific application for us is that, as I previously mentioned, the oracles. We've been collaborating with the Charlie3 team to ensure that SIP 31 has the greatest positive impact as possible, seeing as how Indigo will be the largest consumer of data from Charlie3. And they're a great team, so we've wanted to be as collaborative as possible in helping steer that as much as possible. I think it's important to temper expectations with regards to these SIPs. These things don't happen overnight, so there is some work yet to be done for all of the developers so as to ensure the integration is clean. But all in all, without a doubt, these SIPs are going to be really powerful and helping pave the path for what will be a flourishing DApp and DeFi ecosystem on Cardano.
So as well as being an advanced scaling solution, Hydra is actually a DApp. So Sebastian's been busy with some testing and a lot more besides. So Sebastian, you've been busy behind the scenes as we all prepare for the Vasil hard fork. Perhaps you can share more on what you've been up to.
Here at the Hydra team, we have been proposing even a CIP which got included in the new feature set of Vasil, the CIP 42. which is something we discovered while doing the first versions of Hydra. We need to work around some annoyances of Plutus V1, and we figured this could be done better. And so we proposed, supported by specialized benchmarks, a more efficient way to serialize data on-chain in validators. This became the CIP 42, was discussed with alternatives and put forward to the CIP process, and ended up being implemented by the Plutus team. It was actually not so difficult as much as I know. And so it was quite rapid lifecycle and rapid iteration, which now got also part to be of the to be released scope of Vasil. So in this particular CIP, we can serialize data more efficiently. And that means for Hydra, for example, that instead of be able to distribute about 60 UTXOs when closing the Hydra head in a single transaction, we can now do more like 300. So it has a substantial improvement on the efficiency of Hydra, makes the contract a bit simpler, as we can rely on this new built-in. It was a great experience and proposing something which then actually gets adopted into the scope. And yeah, we had great fun. So contributing to also the Vasil hard fork.
But still a bit more left to do.
That's correct. It's actually still a bit of work. What we have been doing so far was more evaluating, making sure the new feature is working as expected. So that means we have been also helping out in verifying the scope of Vasil in the private testnet, and now also in the public testnet as it's becoming forked to the new era. And so along the way, even we could even help out on some bugs or to be implemented features for switching to Babbage in upstream, so in the Cardano node. And I guess it exemplifies a bit the nature of making your part in contributing to the Cardano node as an open source project and upstreaming your work, what you do and what you want to see it be capable of. There's ways to actually propose it and really participate and contribute to it.
Sebastian, as you know, the community has been following along with great interest on Hydra development. But before you go, maybe a bit of an update on progress. What's coming up next?
If you look at our public roadmap, you see our current features are indeed taking the plunge and switching to the feature set, which is going to be hard forked on the testnet and then later on mainnet. So make sure the Hydra node is compatible to this new era. So recently we closed off most of the main features of the basic Hydra head protocol. That means it's now in a position where we can close some gaps on the testing strategy, add some more tests and verification to support an audit process, which we will kicking off right now. So over the next couple of months, we will be having the Hydra head protocol audited by external participants, but also back with the researchers, which we have been working with all along, but still it's worthwhile to go through the protocol, make sure it's working the right way. And while this maturing process is kicked off, we are now also mostly adding features which are needed to safely and nicely operate a Hydra node by DApp developers. If you are a DApp developer, try it out. As always, it's available. It can be run on the testnet. Check out the repository. Make sure to check out the demo. Maybe even try to launch your protocol in a Hydra node, in a Hydra head. And whatever you come across, we would be looking much forward to your feedback. And it's really depends on what we need, such as to make it a compelling version 1 to be launched on mainnet. And that's what we're currently working on.
Sebastian, thanks very much, and we'll leave you to it. Now, test engineering is a critical process in software development that's focused on evaluating technical solutions and ensuring they're safe, secure, and operate exactly as they should. James Browning is one of the IOG test engineers that's been busy preparing the code for the Vasil upgrade. James, let's start with a quick intro to the community.
So I'm James. I'm a test engineer working here at IOG. I've been here for about 1.5 years now, so I was working on the Alonso hard fork last year, and this time around when we're applying some upgrades to the network in the Vasil hard fork, getting stuck in testing once again.
So James, perhaps you could share a little bit more about what a test engineer does, why it's important, and how the general process works.
We actually begin testing new functionality early on in the development phase, usually starting with the formal specifications taking a look through those, and right all the way through to when we have a fully integrated node release candidate. It's important to start early because it allows us to find and respond to issues earlier on in the release cycle. Now that Plutus version 2 has been integrated with the ledger, and the Cardano node CLI supports all of the new functionality, we're able to progress with the final phase of testing, which is using a combination of automation tools and a hands-on approach so we can efficiently cover regression test scenarios whilst exploring the behavior of the new functionality. All of the functional testing is being carried out on a development testnet where it is easier to construct specific scenarios and apply software fixes. This is something that the mainnet doesn't always allow us, so this is why it's critical that we have high assurance of quality before the deployment on mainnet.
And how's the process gone?
Things have been going really well. The Node QA team have been able to run the majority of regression tests to pass, and any essential alterations are swiftly being resolved by our development team. We're really at the stage now of trying to come up with as many interesting combinations and edge cases that could cause something to break. Although most of the time it's all going pretty well, so this is actually only escalating our assurance of quality, and everything is behaving as it should. I really think developers are going to enjoy using this new functionality. I certainly have been. The combination of reference inputs, inline datum, reference scripts being integrated into dApps will not only reduce the fees for the transactions, but also allow for new designs that increase transparency, minimize contention, and overall promote decentralization.
So transparency, minimal contention, and more decentralization. What's not to love there, eh? Thanks to James, Duncan, Ronald, Eric, and Sebastian for sharing their progress here. So that's pretty much it for today. Be sure to check out some of the latest content published on the IOG blog and Essential Cardano, including articles on the foundational research behind Cardano and its innovative UTXO model, plus pieces on Lace, Dish Networks, and the Plutus Community Docs initiative. Now, Cardano at Consensus was ultimately about the community, and Ben O'Hanlon and Matthew Capps had a busy week catching up with many of the projects and ecosystem contributors who were there, including World Mobile, Clarity Protocol, BuffyBot, DeFi Yield, NFT Maker, Revuto, Veritree, and more. So keep your eyes out for a video on that soon. We'll play out with one last film from Consensus. With the community there in full force, what better way to draw this month's show to a conclusion with some highlights of the Cardano community event. Now, before you go, be sure to click, like, subscribe, and hit that bell to get alerted to all IOG's new videos as they land. And to dive deeper into what we shared at Consensus, you'll find lots of links below. Thanks for joining. We'll see you next month.
I'm one of the co-founders of Gimbal Labs and really excited to be out here making a name for Cardano and everything we're doing.
I've been in the blockchain space since 2011, and Cardano has been the most promising and least hot air that program that I've seen or platform that I've seen out there. And seeing this vast array of unique people here, I mean almost 1,800 people are going to be here, everybody like-minded with one thing in common, like how can we make the world a better place through a platform like Cardano?
It's the community. You know, it starts with Charles, but it immediately kind of comes back to better quality level of exchange of views online. Events like this, you know, meet some good people, and I think there's a genuine willingness to, you know, just gotta make a difference.
I've been doing a Cardano stake pool since 2019, went back when it was like early days and you have to watch it like a baby. And funny enough, now I do it full time for Coinbase. So, you know, thanks to Cardano, build up the skills, and now I'm like doing it full time. Never thought I would, but here we are.
Cryptocurrencies, blockchain technology at their core are about hope. At their core, they're about saying that we actually have agency as people. We do not need leaders. We do not need great people. Instead, we can just work together, voluntary, come together, and change things together. That's the power and why so many people show up when it's 100 degrees outside. It's why so many people come to Austin, Texas, to remind the cryptocurrency space that this is what really matters, what open for business really means.